So it's that time of the month. It's worse than a period. Making chop. Jack has to go and spend all of her hard-earned money on a ton of ingredients, most of which she hates. And then she has to cut, chop, cook, and create a month's worth of frozen meals for her and her stepbrother Yoshi. Did I say stepbrother? I meant stepbother. Jack quickly reminded me that she is the only child that matters. Anyway, once a month I make the parrots a big batch of chop and then freeze it. And this is what the kitchen looks like before I make the chop. So let's get started. Chickpeas, brown rice, eggs, sweet corn, grapes, nectarines, butternut squash, sweet potato, carrots, pumpkin seeds, mint, mango, broccoli, pepper, kale, beetroot pasta, cherries, blueberries, pomegranate seeds, basil, and a bunch of other fresh herbs that are safe for parrots. Pine nuts, courgettes, baby corn, strawberries, cucumber. Displaced broccoli that will not be going into the chop. It's best to just give him a little kissy cuddle before we get started, because I will have to boot him out of the kitchen as soon as I start cooking. Anyway, Jack wanted to share all of the disgusting ingredients in her chop so that you're aware of how hard her life is. It's worse than Oliver Twist begging for a bowl of gruel in a workhouse, and she thinks that by sharing this with you, you might be able to make it better. I start by preparing the fruit that's going to go in the chop. Pomegranate seeds, which are one of Jack's favourite foods. I separate some of these and I'm going to put them in the freezer so that I can give Jack pomegranate seeds throughout the month as treats. And it just ensures that we're limiting as much waste as we possibly can. When Jack starts eating pomegranate seeds, she doesn't really know how to stop, and so I felt it best to scrape these to one side to ensure that there were some left for the chop. And then I add my grapes, another one of Jack's favourite fruits. And she'll probably take one. Yep, she does. So whilst Jack is sitting there doing all the hard work, I prepare some strawberries and I just cut off the stems and drop them in there. It did get to the stage where I had to protect the integrity of the fruit, and so after adding my washed blueberries, I covered the fruit to ensure that there was some left. Jack was furious about this, and she did stage a protest whereby lots of things disappeared from the kitchen table. But, you know, all's well that ends well. I had forgotten to add the cherries to the fruit mixture, and I hate doing this, but it's really, really important that every single pip stone is removed from the cherry, because these contain cyanide, which is lethal to birds. And cherry is usually one of Jack's favourite fruits, but on this occasion, you know, you can't go wrong with stealing another grape, because nothing tastes better than a stolen grape at the end of the day. With all the pits removed and the kitchen starting to look like, I don't want to make any comparisons that offend anyone, the bottom of Yoshi's cage, I am then ready to gather all of my dry ingredients that will be going in the chop. I just find it easier to separate it like this. It makes me aware of how many ingredients are going into the chop. I want to make sure that there are plenty of different flavours and textures in there, as well as loads of different nutrients. Obviously, every piece of food has a different health benefit for the birds, and I find that when I separate things and I add them all together at the end, I'm more aware of it. So the dry mixture is pumpkin seeds, pine nuts. Sorry, I got a case of the plague on my hand. Some egg food pellets, some nutriberries, some blended Harrison's pellets and some whole Harrison's pellets, but it doesn't really matter that they're whole, because all of this dried food will be blended down anyway. some rolled oats as well, really good for texture and just a nice way to fill out a chop. And the oats that you pick should be rolled. They are the best oats for digestion in Parrots. With my fruit and dried ingredients prepared, I can then start chopping my fresh vegetables. 2 broccoli bunches, I don't know the correct term for multiple broccoli branches. I've got my mixture of peppers that I'm going to chop. All of this is going to be finely chopped in my choppers, so I'm not too worried about sizing or anything like that. Poor Yoshi was wasting away at this point, and I quickly fed him some pepper seeds to just keep him alive for an extra couple of minutes because he was starving. Then I chop and add some courgette and some carrots. Not all of these ingredients will be cooked. Some will stay raw and some will be steamed. But there's something really satisfying about looking at it all like that because it just looks so colourful and vibrant. Then I'm going to start cooking. So I have some beetroot pasta and I put that on to boil. I start peeling my sweet potato. And it's where I realise that I really am not very strong because cutting a sweet potato is one of the hardest things I've ever done, honestly. I also have some chickpeas, but I need to put these in a bowl of water to soak overnight. They will not be going in this evening's chop. Brown rice. And the birds love brown rice, so it's a really nice ingredient to add. I also have some baby corn, which I'm going to start steaming now. I actually forgot the apple, so I had to go back and chop that. Again, with the same with cherries, you must make sure that all the pips are removed because they contain cyanide, which can be lethal to birds. Next, I'm going to steam my kale. So if I just swap these out. I don't have a steamer. I don't really know how to steam. It's all a bit of a guess, but no one's died yet, and that's the main thing. I try and steam most of the vegetables, so I'm also steaming the courgette. I think it's better at keeping nutrients in. And then when my vegetables are cooked, my raw veg are prepared, my fruit is prepared, and all my dry mixture is prepared, I am ready to start chopping it all up, basically. And I just have these 2 measly hand choppers, and so it takes quite a while. And I actually chop with my foot because I find that to be quicker and more efficient. One thing I will say is that I always rinse and drain my fruit before I mix it into the vegetable chop because it is so wet, and if you don't want to end up with a bag of soup defrosting on your side, then it's best to put it through a sieve or something and get rid of any excess moisture. I just find that it freezes a lot better, it defrosts a lot better, and it saves a lot of work. I'm not joking when I say that this takes hours. At this point, it started to get dark in the kitchen, and so I had to turn the lights on. And this is what the vegetables look like, the raw vegetables look like before adding the cooked vegetables. So at this point, we've got the cooked vegetables and the raw vegetables all mixed in together, and it looks something like this, and I think it looks really, really good for a chop. I never used to make them chop like this. It's more of a recent venture. And then I add my drained fruit, and again, just get in there. It's really, really messy, and you'll find chopping your knickers for the next 5 days. I mean, hopefully you change your knickers. And then I need to blend up all of my dry ingredients. So I've got a little sort of super blender for that. And I can add all of that in and then give it another really good mix. And that dry mix also helps to absorb excess moisture in the chop, which helps with freezing, I find. When it's all done, it sort of looks like this. Jack says it looks like shit. And we all know that if anyone would eat shit, then you're looking at him. I do incorporate fresh ingredients during the week. It makes the chop different each night. I've got fresh herbs, mango, butternut squash. I decided not to put the sweet potato into this mixture, and so they'll have that separately or added into their chop at some point throughout the next couple of days. And then fresh herbs can be added as well during the week. So I separate the mixture into a month's worth of freezer bags, and I just take one bag out a day. It takes hours to prepare this, and I find that it's really worth it. It makes my life a lot easier to take one of these out of the freezer and know that they probably won't eat it, but that I tried my best anyway. And on that note, who would I be if I didn't leave you with a piece of poetry by Jack herself? She has asked me to share this piece with you. So here is our poem. From the shores of Rhode Island to Kentucky's vast plains, snow-coated mountains as Colorado's terrain, Cali's red carpet for a date with the stars, or San Franny's bridge with gold-painted bars. From Blue Ridge Heights where sweet peaches grow, volcanic sands burn where the Hawaiian winds blow, chasing the dust in a huge Kansas twister, or down in the south where it's ma'am or it's mister. From the lighthouses dancing on Maine's aging shores, whilst old Penny's nickname is Breaking the Law, nursing a whiskey on the Tennessee Trail, or riding the bull on Wyoming's tail. These are some of the states that you cannot go, if green stains the body where new feathers grow, the land of the free, unless you're a Quaker. Jack's trading her passport for the American acre. And yes, Quaker parrots are really, really banned in those states, and many more, to be honest, but it was hard to get them all into a rhyme, Jack said. Thanks for joining us. Have a nice night. Goodbye.
Bye.